So you are looking for a Herald build that you can play in every single game mode to its highest level, and you can help your group and do everything that is required with just a single build without swapping any gear and traits. This build is for you. It is very easy to play. It has a very high skill ceiling if you really want to get to go really try hard and master this build, and it performs really well in terms of DPS and in buffing capabilities. You can solo open world with it, you can use it in group content, you can use it in PvP, you can use it in world versus world, you can use it in roaming. Everything is covered by this build. So let's jump right in. So we're playing Herald. Herald gets access to the F2, which is the Facet of Nature, which gives you some legend dependent ability. We are using Shiro and Dragon Stance, so Clint. And in Shiro you get some boon removal and some damage and some lifesteal passively. And in Clint you get some boon duration increase if you use it actively, and it's a Condi remove and passively increases the duration as well. So it's really nice what it can bring to the table for your group, or also in competitive modes. So let's start with the PvE gear that you can also, that's the important part here, use in World vs. World 2. So for gear you want to run full Berserker, armor, trinkets and weapons, with the only exception of one dragon back piece. Of course that's not a requirement, but it helps, it increases your damage a little bit more. For infusions, if you can afford them, of course power infusions would be the best. For rune, you want to go with Superior Rune of the Dragon Hunter for even more damage. If you want to go a little bit more tanky and play a little bit more, let's say, competitive World vs. World, then I would swap more trinkets or more armor pieces to Marauder just to get a little bit more health, but this is the most aggressive version that you can play. You want to play Staff and Sword, both of those weapons again, Berserker. On your Staff weapon set, if you play a lot of competitive modes, I would go with Cleansing Energy. If you play more PvE focused or want to have a second Staff, then I would go with Absorption and Paralyzation, just for more breakbar damage and the possibility of boon removal. On your swords, you should always go with Air and Force, just straight up the best option. For your Relic, I would go for Relic of the Thief if you want to get the maximum amount of damage out. If you are in a solo scenario, or if you want to go for, let's say, World vs. World roaming, then I would go for Relic of Sakiros. Sakiros gives you some nice lifesteal. 4% of every damage you do while under effects of Fury and you crit, you get healing. That can be really good. I would say because you have permanent Fury with this build, you should get a lot of healing passively, even in competitive modes. Like I said, this gear can be exactly like that used in World vs. World 2. Now let's talk quickly about consumables. So for consumables, again, as with all power builds, you want to go with Peppercorn Crusted Sweet Steak if you can afford the Ascended version, just for the minus 10% incoming damage. And Power and Ferocity. If you can't afford this one, the normal version would be the Bowls of Sweet and Spicy Butternut Squash Soup, which just gives you the same stats, but doesn't give you the minus 10% incoming damage. For utility consumables, I would always go with Superior Sharpening Stones, just more power, very good. So for PvE, you want to run Invocation, Devastation and Herald. In Invocation, you get a lot of Fury access, you get some nice damage multipliers, you get more Might access and some protection that helps also for your party. And that's the important one, you get 25% crit chance increase while you're under Fury. So Fury gives you now 50% crit chance, so it's very important that you get Fury all the time. Then you get Devastation, just a lot of damage and vulnerability application. And then you have Herald, which gives you some nice buff to your F2 skill. Then some more health, more concentration and more boon damage, so that can help a lot in a group scenario. And then we have more Might application to your allies. And very important, Elevated Compassion. You have now access to quickness, so when you use 6 upkeeps, you apply quickness around you. And this is very easy on a Herald. You use 2 facets or use the Shiro Impossible Odds thing, and you will get quickness to your allies as well. So this build is played as a quickness support. Offensive quickness support. Really, really good. It reaches around 31k, 32k in a group scenario. It's really, really strong. It's very easy to play. And if you want, you can swap this trait just for this one. And now you are full DPS. You now bench around 35, 36k if you're knowing what you're doing. So this is really, really good. But if you want to play quickness support or if you're solo, this is the better option. If you are playing really going for champions solo or even legendary bounties and stuff, then I would go for Dance of Death, Thrill of the Combat, and maybe even Battle Scarred, so that you get a lot of life stealing. This is very crazy how much lifesteal you can get going, but in normal PvE scenario, I would go for middle. If you are interested in an even more optimized solo build for Herald, be sure to check out this video, which showcases how strong Herald can be in a solo scenario. Let's quickly cover the weapon skills. So the 2 is some nice damage increase, the 3 you should only use if you need an evade, and the 4 and the 5 you should use off cooldown, because they are really strong damaging skills. Otherwise, always try to cast your last auto attack, because it's a chain and the last hit is the most damaging one, so always try to use that and finish it. And only swap to staff if you need defensive or break bar. So the 3 is a block, the 4 is a heal and a condi remove, the 2 is also a heal after delay, and the 5 is some very strong CC. So use the block here if you need the block, and use the CC when you swap to staff. But typically you should stay on sword the whole fight if you don't need CC or healing. Before the rotation, you always want to start the fight with Gaze of Darkness, Facet of Elements and Facet of Strength up, and then instantly pop your Facet of Elements, Facet of Strength, flip over skill, use your Chaotic Release and Facet of Nature, and swap to Shiro. Then use Impossible Odds, use your 2, 4 and 5 on sword, and auto attack until your energy is drained, and swap back to Glint, while always when the Chilling Isolation comes off cooldown, so the sword 2, use it if you just finish your 3rd auto attack hit. And then you repeat that all the time, so swap whenever your energy is drained, use your Facet of Elements instantly and Facet of Strength, flip over skills. When you swap to Glint, use your Facet of Chaos, Facet of Darkness and Facet of Nature once to drain the energy, and when you are about to lose all the energy, pop Facet of Nature, and Facet of Elements and Facet of Strength should be off cooldown. Use them, use your Facet of Chaos flip over skill and swap to Shiro and continue like that. If you want to know more about quick DPS Herald in group content in Guild Wars 2, be sure to check out this video. So for World vs. World, again, you want to run Invocation, Devastation and Herald. However, you swap a small amount of traits, so you want to go with Cleansing Channel so that you get a Condi Cleanse when you swap Legends. You want to run Rapid Flow so that you get some passive healing and always have Swiftness up. That's really nice. You again go for Roiling Mists, because it will get buffed in the next balance patch, so that you get some lifesteal with that. That's really helpful as well, and it's very easy to crit cap with this. If you want to be a little bit more alternative gaming, then you would go with Call of the Assassin to get more quickness. If you swap to Shiro, that can be very helpful too. But I think this is the more aggressive option, and with the lifesteal in the next balance patch, probably the superior choice. Then we have Devastation again. You now take Aggressive Agility to get some more resistance uptime. You take Notoriety and Dance of Death, because you want to get some more lifestealing going, and that helps a lot to sustain. If you want to go even more aggressive, you can go for Swift Determination as well. Then you have Herald. You take Rising Momentum just for more movement speed. You take Shining Aspects for more healing. That helps a lot, because all your Glint skills now will heal you when you use them, the Consume skill. And then Draconic Echo you use because it's a very nice damage buff you can get, wound duration buff, it's very nice, and your facets last over their Consume skill 6 seconds longer. That helps a lot to just get more wounds out. Especially if you, for example, get the Fury buff up and then you use it and you swap, and that still pulses the Fury after that, so that you can, for example, upkeep Fury easier. For World vs. World gear adjustments, I would stay with exactly the same gear. Like I said, I would highly recommend to go with Cleansing and Energy on your staff. But more importantly, I would go with Relic of Sakirus if you need healing, or, which is also very good, Relic of Searching, new addition. Get a Shocking Aura for 4 seconds after using an elite skill. That can be really helpful, because you have multiple elite skills. You have, so to say, 3, because Glint counts as 2, because you can instantly pop it with just using the Facet of Chaos once, and you get it. That can be really helpful in disrupting aggressive enemies and then counter damaging them. It's really strong. Don't underestimate how good that is. This build shines in roaming, but it can also be used in a Zerg. You just have to adjust your staff and swap it for a hammer, and you can fill the DPS role very well too. When it comes to World vs. World and PvP regarding the usage, you should always again use your sword very aggressively. Of course, use your Unrelenting Assault, which is your 3 skill on sword, very aggressively as well. So just to get some evades and deal a lot of damage. Use your 5 on your sword to get some nice teleport, and of course use your Immobilize with the Shackling Wave as well to be really aggressive. Only swap to staff if you need CC or defense. Typically your staff is your very defensive weapon set with healing and blocks and evades, so it's really helpful. For your legends, you should always use Shiro to get teleports, get a nice stun break with the riposting shadows, and just use your healing skill to get even more lifestealing going. Use your Jade Winds to deal some heavy CC, and you can also store Jade Winds so that it's actually playing the animation without finishing the attack, so you don't use energy and the enemy might dodge the attack. The same goes for the Glint Elite. You can just pop it and store the weapon to cancel the animation. Enemies might dodge that and you can then use it again to get the CC. All your attacks or utility skills on Glint are very useful. Fury, Might, Swiftness, and use your Facet of Elements, Flip Over Scale, the Elemental Blast to deal some more damage. And of course Burst of Strength as well. The Gaze of Darkness is a nice stun break, and Infuse Light, it's the most broken healing skill in the game. It is extremely strong how much you heal because you invert all incoming damage to healing. It's extremely strong. If you use it at the correct time, you just instantly heal to full, and that can swing the whole fight, so keep that in mind. Use your Facet of Nature mostly in Glint for Condi remove, or if you need some more damage and boon removal, use it in Shield. When it comes to PvP, you run exactly the same weapon setup. In PvP, you just run Berserker Amulet with Relic of Searching, again very very strong. You have 3 elite skills, so you can actually easily stop your enemies with the shocking aura that you get. You use Rune of Hollowsmith for a little bit more power, vitality and precision, very helpful. And on your Sword, which is your aggressive weapon set, you use Sigil of Exposure, Sigil of Exploitation. On Staff, again, Cleansing and Energy, the most defensive option. For traits in PvP, you use exactly the same traits as in World vs. World. You use Invocation, Devastation and Herald. You use in Invocation Cleansing Channel, Rapid Flow and Roiling Mists. In Devastation, you use Aggressive Agility, Thrill of Combat and Dance of Death. You can swap Thrill of Combat to Authority if you need to. Then on Herald, you use Rising Momentum again, Shining Aspects and Draconic Echo. Very straightforward. It plays the same in World vs. World in PvP. You are a roamer, you're very squishy, but you deal a lot of damage and you have some nice sustain if you use your healing skills correctly and use your destruction with your CC skills like Search of the Mists and like your Jade Winds and Searching Relic procs. This build is really fun to play in every single game mode in my opinion. If you have any questions about this build, please let me know in the comments. And with that, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed this quick guide. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks to all my supporters on YouTube, Twitch and Patreon. Thanks Malice, thanks Lane, and I hope to see you all in the next video.